Multiplication of fractions. Multiplying by a whole number. To multiply a fraction by a whole number, simply multiply the numerator by the number, then simplify the resulting fraction if necessary. Let's look at this example. So we multiply the numerator by the number, which is 15, and then we simplify the resulting fraction. To see why this works, consider the diagrams below. 5 times 3/4 means 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4, 5 times. So now we are taking from the parts at the back to try to make whole ones. There's 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 whole. So we've got 3 whole numbers and 3/4. Let's do another one. So 8 times 2/3 means 2/3 plus 2/3, 8 times. Let's try to make whole ones. So we'll take from the back, form a whole one, another one, another one, and another one. So we've got 5 and a third. How do we quickly do that? We multiply the numerator by the whole number, that is 16, and we divide it by 3. Now we convert the improper fraction to a mixed number. How many times does 3 go into 16? 5 times, and the remainder is 1/3. Pause the video now and try to do these for yourselves, and then mark your work. Beautiful. How do we multiply by a unit fraction? Before considering multiplication of fractions, it is important for you to understand that in mathematics, of and multiplication mean the same thing. To see why this is the case, consider the set of 6 discs shown below. So there are 6 discs. If you have this set of discs 2 times, you would have a total of 12. Or to rephrase, this is if you had 2 of these sets of discs, you have 12 discs. So to multiply a fraction by a unit fraction, simply multiply out the numerators and the denominators, and then simplify the resulting fraction if necessary. So 1/4 times 2/5, multiply the numerators, it's 2, multiply the denominators, and simplify. To see why, let's use a diagram to consider the following. 2/5. We first take 2/5, and then we want 1/4 of 2/5. So we have to divide those 2/5 by 4, and then we have to take 1/4 of it. So that's why our answer seems very small, 1/10. 2/20, which is 1/10. Let's look at another example. 1/3 times 5/8. So we want 1/3 of 5/8. Let's first find 5/8. So there are my 5/8. Then I have to divide that into 3 equal parts. And then I want 1/3 of the 5/8. And what is 1/3 of 5/8? You are absolutely correct, 5/24. How did we do this? We multiplied the numerators by each other and we multiplied the denominators by each other. So pause the video now and see if you can do this. Multiplication of fractions. In general, to multiply any 2 fractions, simply multiply out the numerators and the denominators and then simplify the resulting fraction. Let's look at this example. We know this is 6/12, which is a half, but there's often more an efficient method. We can cancel the highest common factors, top and bottom, or in the numerator and the denominator, and then we can multiply out to arrive at the answer directly. This is super cool. So instead of saying 6/12 or 6/12, we'll say 2 goes into itself once and then 4 twice. And the 3's cancel, which means it gives 1. Now we can multiply the numerators, which is 1, and the denominators, which is 2. So we skip a step. Less work, more efficient. Let's see how it works. So we've got 3/4, and we want 2/3 of 3/4 by dividing it into thirds. So 2/3 of 3/4 will be 6/12, and that is a half. Let's try another example. Let's try to simplify before we multiply in order to skip a step. So we can say 5 goes into itself in once and in 15 3 times. Remember, it must be a numerator and a denominator, the highest common factor of a numerator and a denominator. Then 4 goes into 12 3 times and an 8 twice. We cannot simplify anymore. Now it's a simple case of multiplying the numerators and the denominators. So we skipped a step and we made it much easier for ourselves by first cancelling or simplifying and then multiply. So to multiply more than 2 fractions, simply multiply out the numerators and the denominators and then simplify the resulting fraction if necessary. Cancelling common factors, top and bottom, or in the numerator and the denominator is advisable. Let's try this. So instead of multiplying all the numerators and all the denominators, let's try to cancel. 5 goes into 5 once and an 10 twice. 4 goes into itself once and an 8 twice. What about the 3 in itself once and a 9 3 times? How easy is this? So the answer is just 1/12. Otherwise, we would have worked with big numbers, and then to have simplified would have been messy. Let's do another example. This means multiplication. So the 3 can go into 9 3 times. 4 goes into 8 twice, but in 12 3 times. And now we can multiply the numerators, which is 1 times 7 times 2, and the denominators 5 times 3 times 3. And since we've already simplified, this is in its simplest form. So pause the video now and try to work smart and cancel before you multiply the numerators and the denominators. You are awesome. Multiplying by mixed numbers. To multiply fractions involving mixed numbers, rewrite the mixed numbers as improper fractions and then proceed as usual. So for example, we've got a mixed number here. It's very important to first change it to an improper fraction. And now we can see if we can simplify or cancel before we multiply. So 7 goes into itself once and then 21 3 times. 2 goes into 6 3 times and an 8 4 times. So it's super easy. It's 9/4, which is 2 1/4. Example 2. First change the mixed numbers to improper fractions and then try to simplify. 2 goes into itself once and then 20 10 times. 3 goes into itself once and then 9 3 times. Now we can just say it's 30 over 1, which is just 30. How easy is this? Pause the video and do these examples. Remember to change the mixed numbers to improper fractions. You've got this. If you get some of these wrong, please rewatch the video.